of it around cloud at the moment is around really trying to understand what cloud is, how the CIOs can really make use of it, trying to demystify it a little bit. So from a CIO point of view, I think it's out there. I think from the debate around whether cloud is just a concept, I think is gone. I think the technology itself is already proven. I don't think we're left with cloud computing as being a technological issue. I think it's an implementation issue. From a CEO perspective, I think the CEOs are looking for a couple of things. It's one, they're looking to drive innovation. Two, they're looking to drive costs down. And I think cloud computing really sits in both camps as well. And we had a session today, breakfast briefing with some execs, and you can see when you start looking at companies that how quickly companies have grown to 1 million customers, it's because they've used cloud computing, that type of technology, to grow fast. So if companies aren't using it, then I think CEOs really get it. They understand that innovation is being driven by this type of technology, so it's on their agenda as well. I think what we're starting to do is really help them understand how these turn-offs on cloud computing are two things. One, it's uncertainty about what the technology really is. So I think helping C-levels really understand what it is the stage we're at the moment. I think the key one at the moment is the implementation. The implementation and the barriers are around probably data security. And data security it's common across all regions, whether it's in North America, in Europe, or in Asia. In North America, even states are now starting to look at security issues. In Europe, the European regulations are taking place at an aggregate level, but also individual countries are looking at what data security really means. And from the conversations that we've had with companies this week in Asia as well, it's the same thing. Concentrated on SMB organisations or smaller organisations. But increasingly we're seeing cloud computing being attractive both to SMBs and to larger enterprises. And in fact, especially in Asia, we see more an involvement from government bodies as well in terms of how they can facilitate, like in China and in Hong Kong, how they can facilitate the growth of cloud computing. The infrastructure, or cloud as an infrastructure, I think is an easy starting point for all three entities. Of the three types, government institutions are particularly keen to understand how they can facilitate the growth of small SMB businesses. SMB businesses are clearly excited to understand how they can use public cloud to innovate faster. And I think the larger enterprises are looking at cloud, how can they secure their core systems, their core applications, and then use cloud to start to address the issue of 75% of their costs spent on maintenance and 25% on innovation. So how do they start to blend that? Cloud computing to be pervasive. I think Gartner talk about by 2015, 50% or 43% of organizations will be running cloud on at least half of their core applications. So even Gartner are predicting that that growth is going to take place. I think the key issues is successes and successful case studies. So successful case studies where organizations have implemented cloud successfully to drive down costs, or implemented cloud computing successfully to innovate, or successful role models for how cloud computing and managed hosting have been integrated tightly together. I think the opportunity for both government bodies and commercial organisations to work more closely together exists, particularly around accreditation of cloud computing technologies. And that's starting to happen in different regions. It's starting to happen here in Hong Kong, and it's starting to happen in the European Union as well. So across those three areas, I think we have an opportunity to move even faster. But even looking at those forecasts from Gartner, that is it's a tremendous growth in cloud computing. And Gartner's other statistics show that 20% of core assets, IT assets, by 2014 will be outsourced. They won't be owned by physical assets, won't be owned by organisations.